Be careful who you tell.
I would never, ever, ever, ever work for anybody who made me sign a non-complete clause.
Okay.
I did accidentally.
Oh, okay.
When I was up north, before I went to that private practice, but I honestly didn't know I did.
Right.
It was the smallest print. It was like not anything I even remember reading in the employment paperwork. And when they brought that up when I left for private practice.
Hello, everyone, and I hope you are all doing wonderful.
Behavioral Health Integrations Podcast strives to inspire the next generation of mental health and addiction specialists. Our aim is to continue to raise awareness and encourage collaboration in the mental health and addiction industry so that it will continue to thrive. There are numerous approaches to treating mental health and substance abuse issues. On this show, we take pleasure in showcasing the diversity of these approaches used to improve the lives of others. So without further ado, your host, Jacob Menig.
Admissions, all that stuff.
That would be so cool if we could. Remember I talked to you about the peer recovery thing? Like, it makes sense, and that would be a really good addition if we could do that.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was categorized. Peer recovery support was endorsed within the statutes under 245G programming, so DHS could regulate it, and RCOs, Recovery Community Organizations, which is a new category, not under LADCs in private practice. So we can't add that to our insurance contracts. We can't hire peer recovery specialists. Nope. It's unfortunate, and this is one of those reasons why we need advocacy for LADCs in private practice, because we're getting left behind on a few things, including having peer recovery specialists. You have to be solo in private practice. It's this open question about whether, you have to be solo, but could you have other mental health clinicians working for you if they're not billing SUD codes and you're the only one billing SUD codes? Still kind of an open question, gray area. So, there are a lot of things that I think we could potentially be doing that legislation just doesn't allow for yet. And that's not going to change without advocacy.
She made herself the program director and was the one who did services.
Yeah, you could. You can be program director, clinic, because you need a program director, clinical supervisor, and clinician. You could technically be all three, but you still have to have all those other components. You could. But
oh my God.
Here's the thing. Let me give you this example. I went out to a outpatient treatment program. I want to say 8 months ago. They were looking for a program director. So they were interviewing me for program director. And I walked in, and how they started was they had outpatient housing. And then they hired an LADC, and they had, the owner had an LADC there doing night programming, and they had their 245G license. And I saw the 245G paperwork up on the wall, and all the policies were up on the wall posted like they should be. And I thought, okay, that's a good start. They're posted where they should be. And I walked into his office. I started talking to him. And I'm like, okay, well, where's your front desk staff? Where's this person? Where's that person? I couldn't believe what I was hearing.
Right.
Basically, what he did was he had some medical director sign off on the 245G application. They said to the state they had all these things in place. They didn't have any of it in place.
Wow.
And they hired an LADC to work at night to treat the clients that they were housing. And none of these other components were in place. They weren't happening. They were just on paper. And I said to him, you can't do that. As soon as the state sees this, they're going to shut you down. And you could potentially be facing criminal charges, because now we're dealing with Medicaid fraud, because you're billing for services you're sort of providing, but you're not totally providing the whole thing, right? So, then he came back, he wanted to hire me, and I'm like, forget it.
No way. And they're going to get caught. The auditors are going to come by.
They did.
At least once a year.
They did. And it wasn't me. I didn't report it. But a month later, they did, because I saw the report. They came in and immediately shut them down the same day, which DHS never does. They usually say they issue a correction first, and they, right? But it was clearly fraudulent, and it was just unbelievable. And the only thing this guy was concerned about the whole time I was there was trying to get the claims to go through, because he couldn't get the payers to line up right in the EHR.
It's crazy.
He only cared about the money. And I kept telling him, that's not going to work. This may work for the moment, but
It's not worth the risk. It's not worth the risk. Or
He didn't know what
maybe
he was
they just
doing.
don't know. And then if you're naive and just don't know, I don't want to say it's better.
I felt so bad for those clients because then immediately DHS does that, then the clients have to be moved immediately.
Is that an excuse though? Like, you shouldn't be doing crap you don't know, but it makes you like have more sympathy or empathy for you just didn't know and you just did something really stupid and unprofessional. You didn't know, or they probably just didn't know and just tried to do some slime ball stuff. There's both people in this field. There's good people and there's bad people.
Yeah.
Let's not try to act like there isn't.
Well, I'm not so sure he was totally sober.
Okay, that's another worse. That's another negative avenue.
I think that here's the thing though.
Yeah.
This program director that signed that document wasn't even residing within the States. He was like out living 6 months out of the year somewhere else. He wasn't even in the vicinity.
What?
He should have right there. If he was an ethical medical director, sorry, if he was an ethical medical director, he should have known what he was signing and should have had some oversight happening, right? And he didn't. Yeah. He wasn't doing that. He just probably took. I don't know. Maybe got paid for this. I don't know. Maybe they're. I don't know.
Wouldn't surprise me. Let's keep it real. Let's be honest. Yeah. Like this shit is happening.
It happens,
and it makes us look bad.
By the time DHS catches it, sometimes clients have been in services for 3-6 months, right?
Yeah.
They do try to get out the first time within a reasonable amount of time of a license being issued. So let me not say that. They do that. And they do a fairly good job of it. Mm-hmm. But so, like I said, like when after I left there, it wasn't long after that DHS caught up in it. And when I read the report, it was as scathing as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Scary thing. And look, I'll say that it's not just the mental health addiction field, whatever. This happens in all professions, doctors, chiropractors, like we're human beings. There's shady people in all fields.
There is all shades of gray, right? All on the spectrum. Yeah. So starting in this LADC becoming LADC in private practice is not something you should decide just because you want to make more money. It really is about a lifestyle change too.
Yep.
For me, it was about wanting more flexibility over my schedule, wanting to be the one I didn't want to answer to anybody anymore. I got tired of that.
Yes.
I wanted to be the one to take the risks, and I was willing to deal with the stressors that were going to come with having a business, including like making sure I have clients, things like that. Mm-hmm. I was already dealing with a lot of stress working for people that I struggled with. So I just thought, well, the stress can't be any worse on the other side of this, right? Running a business. And I wanted to travel more. So it ended up working out for me, but only because of all the things we talked about tonight, I addressed as they came up, right? I kept looking at it clearly. I was honest with myself about issues. When I didn't really know what I was doing, I asked for help. I hired somebody to do it. There was a while there I hired a marketer, because I didn't know what I was doing. And, yes, I was fiscally responsible, and I didn't always take the first person who offered a service because I didn't have money at first either. I started this with zero money. Zero. I was on unemployment at the time, remember? Because I had to quit.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. That's another segment I wanted to get into is like how we transition. So I've obviously learned about your story, and just a little FYI, like for people, I'm okay with telehealth. Nothing like Robert. I know you love telehealth.
I do.
I'm not that kind of guy. I want like a group room, an office, an assessment room. That's it. That is my dream. And then I'll do telehealth on the side. I can't afford a building, so that's why I'm doing this. So you need to make the best financial decision as a professional where you are in life. And if you can afford, I cannot afford it. I'm still working at a treatment center right now, and obviously doing private practice. So it's a financial thing for me, where your story was a little bit different on how you ultimately decided to go into private practice. There's some risk there, right?
Yeah, there's always going to be risk in anything we do in life. And, if you're going to have a 245G license, you're going to have a building anyway.
But your situation was really risky, right? I mean, you can decide to get into it right now if you want, but you fully went into private practice right away, right?
Well, I didn't have a choice. I mean, I lost my job that day, and it was either start the business and take a risk, or I knew that I probably would qualify for unemployment for a while. So I thought maybe that'll at least pay the rent while I try to get this thing off the ground. it's funny because it took 4 or 5 months before I got the first check. I had clients because the place I worked allowed me to take my clients with me because they couldn't service them at that point.
So how long did it take you to get your first check from when you first started doing the documentation to when you get your first checks? Because I'll give you my answer too for that.
4 to 5 months, and it was the last week of the last unemployment check.
Okay. So
yeah,
Robert, I remember when me and you started, you were helping me with the paperwork. I think that was maybe February of this year, right? I got my first check. I started in September. I got my first check, which I was so happy. I'm framing that bad boy. I copied it. It's important to me. That was a month ago. So we'll just say over the month ago. So middle of October. So like 8 months. It took me roughly 8.5 months, whatever. So just for all you listeners, like that's the time frame usually.
It's going to vary,
It's going to vary.
I mean,
yeah.
It's going to, from start to end, it depends how you're going into this. From the time you get approved from MA to how long it takes the PMAPs to come online, to how long it takes you to bill your first client. And then, but like I said, Medicaid products pay within a couple of weeks of the time that the clearinghouse scrubs it and sends it to the payer. So if you get to that step,
well,
not so long.
Claims is big. So again, comparing to private practice treatment centers, you get paid bi-weekly. Let's just be honest. Like that's usually the average. I get paid bi-weekly at treatment center. You need to have a good understanding of the claims. Where MA for me, and maybe this is just my first claims going through. It took me a month for Hennepin Health to pay me the first time, and I still haven't gotten paid for Blue Cross Blue Shield. But I think tomorrow would be my day of my first service. So each one, it's taken me a month just to get paid. So that's something to be aware of. It is what it is, I guess.
Once you have consistent billing, though. So MA pays twice a month. They have a posted schedule for when they process. I think it's on the group page. They're unique that way, of course. All the PMAPs pay weekly. So usually on Wednesdays, the direct deposits hit the accounts, at least for me.
Yeah.
And it's going to depend a little bit too, like what day of the week you bill your stuff out. Some people bill their stuff every day. Some people bill once a week. I usually bill once a week because I'm just annoyed with it.
Right.
But so once you get the flow, the claims flowing, like once you're billing every week consistently, you'll start to see payments every week, except for MA, which is every 2 weeks. And usually it's if direct deposits, because you have to set up direct deposit for all these payers too. If you don't, they're going to send you a manual check, and then it's a couple extra days to get the check, which is fine. If you want to do it the old-fashioned way and take it to the bank, I mean, I like talking to my banker. That's fine too. But
don't be like me and you get like $11 check in the mail, and it's like it's not even worth the drive to the bank to like cash it in. Because remember, you got to pay taxes. You got to take, let's say, 25%.
You still need to, though, because when it comes to business, though, and your claims and the EHR and all that has to match match the penny. So if it's a claim check, you need to deposit that.
So it's a lot of stuff to manage.
Once you get it flowing, there'll be revenue every week. I would suggest having a separate account for your taxes and just setting that aside instead of getting hit hard every quarter. Or first time I waited a year, and that really hurt for a while.
Well, you have a choice, right, for tax. You could pay quarterly, or you could pay at the end of the year, right? And when you want to
I mean, however you decide to set it, depends on your tax structure. As an S corp, I have to pay it quarterly. So my accountant set that up. It's automatic. They didn't give me a choice. They just set it up electronically. So whether I like it or not, it's coming out of the bank. Whether I have the money in the account or not, it's coming out of the bank. So I got to make sure the money's in the account. But they know me, right? We were talking earlier about like areas like we all have our maybe weaknesses in. If I can get away with not paying taxes for a while, I will, because I did that for a while. So now they kind of corner me and put me on a system where I can't get away with it.
Right.
That's a good accountant. That's a very good accountant.
Yes. Oh, yeah. It just all the financial aspects you got to be aware of. Again, that's a plus private practice. I want to lean into the differences between pros and cons of treatment centers, private practice. And we talked about this prior to the show. A lot of private practice practitioners struggle with loneliness, which when I heard that gentleman's podcast, It's just, again, not every treatment, every place of business is going to have drama, stress. Just for me personally, like at the past treatment centers, like I'm still pissed off at maybe at some of the things that were handled with me and other counselors. It was just very toxic, very disrespectful. Just some of the things that are done is just horrendous. So when I heard of loneliness, it's just like, okay, my fellow employees are the main reason of my stress and anger and frustration, whatever. So my mindset right off the bat, not all employees, so not all of them, but again, some things are just not handled the appropriate way. And when I think of that, it's like, oh, I would love just being alone, just not dealing with that stress, whatever. But again, I'm 3 months in, I'm half and half. I'm not really alone yet, where you can kind of relate a little bit differently to that.
Yes, I've gone back and forth with this. I still tell people to this day, the day that I quit working in a group practice, the next day my stress level dropped 50%.
Right.
I mean, it was a huge drastic difference. And for a while that was great. But now I do find myself having to find ways to connect with others that it's not work related, right? Because I do miss the camaraderie of the professionals in the field. I most notably noticed that when I went out. So you may not know this, but DHS has a community audit team that's funded by a grant where they go out once a year for a month and they'll audit treatment programs if they request it by peers that have like licensed professionals in the field, and do kind of like a practice audit before they actually get an audit from DHS. And it's an opportunity to learn. And I went out and did that last month or the month before. So I got exposed again to other clinicians, you know, in the mental health field and the subfield that are in my field. And I realized, I mean, I knew I was struggling with this a little bit, but I realized just how much I miss in-person camaraderie. So now, you know, I'm going to be returning to do some supervision here shortly, and that'll help.
Okay.
And, you know, things like, you just got to find other ways. Is it joining an association or a board and going once a month and plugging in that way? Or you got to stay connected somehow to stay grounded.
You're right.
Find a way.
For me, I think it's some of my issues too, where I'm still holding on maybe some resentment on the way I was treated at my past treatment centers. Like that's issues that I got to work on, of course. But you're right. I can
hear it.
And exactly. But I also have to understand, again, it's just like, I'm kind of talking on my ass a little bit because I'm just thinking of the bad. I'm still with people at a treatment center. Like, I love the place I work at. I love working out. I love the coworkers that I work out with. Like, those are great times that, you know, when I say things like that, I'm taking that for granted. So it's like, I got to stop thinking like, no, there is a lot of good and just going somewhere and working out and hanging out with people that I do like at work.
DBT, two things can be true at the same time. Two opposites can be true at the same time, right? And you can have an environment where you both love and hate it. You know, there are good qualities, bad qualities. I think the unique thing about private practice is it allows you to kind of disconnect from that whole, like, because in that setting, you have to take the good with the bad. In this setting, you get to leave all that behind. You can take the good and then kind of create more good.
It's funny. Like earlier this week, I was talking to a coworker and I'm just like, God, I love working out so much and it's right here. It's so convenient. Like I'm in shape. Like it's a nice thing to have at certain places that, you know, you could take for granted sometimes.
Yeah. You just got to be careful not to start isolating, because that it's easy to do. It becomes too comfortable. So putting things on your schedule that kind of compel you to get out, you know, or whatever that is.
Doing a shout out, because again, I don't know how many professionals are like me who are working at a treatment center but also doing private practice. Maybe do your transitions a little bit differently and just say, hey, maybe go, if you have a really cool owner and director like I do, you could like go to them and be like, hey, could I possibly do like my private practice, but do like 25% consultation, mental health
supervision, right?
So you're still going there and interacting with people and again, doing your own thing. Now, again, not all owners are going to be cool with that. Not all directors are going to be okay with you doing your own thing.
No, and matter of fact, sometimes some of you might have non-compete clauses from before that became illegal to have not that long ago. And it may not be possible for you because of those clauses. I have some strong feelings about that, but yeah, before you go into this, you need to make sure if you have an employer that you didn't sign any non-compete clauses before that law went into effect. You might need to take a close look at first before you make any decisions that put you at any kind of risk.
Or be prepared to lose your job, because in the state of Minnesota, can't a company fire you for no reason? There's some clauses, there's something out there.
I was thinking more about getting sued, even if you were done working there. But
yeah,
I suppose.
Yep. Be careful who you tell.
I would never, ever, ever, ever work for anybody who made me sign a non-complete clause.
Okay.
I did accidentally.
Oh, okay.
When I was up north, before I went to that private practice, but I honestly didn't know I did.
Right.
It was the smallest print. It was like not anything I even remember reading in the employment paperwork. And when they brought that up when I left for private practice, well, let's just say I can't say what I said on the air.
Yeah.
And I was so angry about it because I felt like it wasn't honest, and I'm an honest person, that I didn't care about the consequences at that point. I was still going to move forward with my plans, but that was risky behavior, because if they would have pursued it, it could have put me in a situation, right? So probably not the wisest choice at the time. I'm just lucky that my guardian angels were looking out for my anger.
Yep. Absolutely. Now, can I flip the conversation? Like, I had another conversation with my supervisor, Jordan. Like, again, he doesn't know all the details, but I'm just talking to him about this private practice thing. And again, it could be a flip side. Someone could be an LADC and love the management role, love supervision, being a supervisor, treatment director. There's nothing wrong with that. Jordan's like he's a good supervisor. It's just like that's kind of like his career route. Like that's the route he wants to take. And there's nothing wrong. Like you can have a great, healthy career being a really good director.
Or supervisor.
Which I think he would be a great director. You know what I mean? Like there's certain avenues. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And like I said before, like that, there are different frameworks and for supervision and lenses to use, and it is a different kind of intervention all in itself, and it's I like it. It's kind of exciting. It's a different way of looking at things and putting into practice application. So absolutely, I think that if you are interested in supervision, if you're an LPCC student and you're interested in supervision, if you're in your master's program right now and you have like Metro State, they had that supervision class built into the program, the co-occurring program. And I'm so grateful for that, because that class gave me all the different models of supervision. And now I know, like, okay, there are all these different ways of doing supervision. It's almost like there are all these different ways of doing counseling. Elevate your experience. If that's your thing, why not contract with that program and say, I'm doing my own private practice, but I'd like to get out and just be among colleagues in the field a little bit. You know what? I can offer you 4 hours of mental health supervision a week contracted, or I can offer you 10 hours of LADC supervision a week contracted, or something like that. As long as you have an agreement with them in writing,
right?
And you're not signing any like non-compete clauses. I don't see why that would be an issue, right? You keep things separate, right? Don't refer clients to each other, all those rules. I don't see why that would be an ethical issue. And I think that'd be a good way to like stay plugged in too. Why not?
And, Robert, another thing to consider too is you got to be true within yourself and be aware that you might have different desires or goals. Like going up in the field, I thought, okay, like it'd be really cool to be a supervisor, then treatment director. Like I saw myself in that role. Then as time went on, I realized like, okay, like that's not really where my path is taking me, and I prefer this route more. So it's always great to be open to like different changes in your life.
Absolutely. Yeah. Your intuition's your best friend here if you're going into practice for yourself, right? You got to be open to change. You got to be open to being wrong. You got to be open to seeking out subject matter experts in areas that maybe you're not so sure about. You got to be open to not being afraid of asking DHS questions when you have questions, not being afraid of calling the Attorney General's office and asking questions, not being afraid of calling an insurance company and asking questions, right?
That saves you.
Yeah, it saves you. Like, yeah, it could, yes. And that's how you learn. That's how I had to learn. Yeah. I mean, I consulted with attorneys, I consulted with Amanda Richards a lot on ethics before she passed away. God bless her soul. I really miss her. If you could find somebody like Amanda Richards that has a strong academic, ethical background that you can just have on hand for ethical consults, I would highly suggest it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Denise. Yes, that's awesome that you're an LPCC student. God, that brings me back. I first worked with Denise back in Amblay. That was years ago.
Really?
I was a personal trainer there when I was like 26, and then I became a tech. Just God, it brings me back. But God, I love treatment centers. I love so much blood, sweat, and tears and beautiful memories I experienced there. Were amazing. Like, I will not forget those for the rest of my life. Yeah, never. I love the impact of treatment centers and the clients. Truly, again, like I said, amazing experiences that I'm going to take for the rest of my life. And
yeah, they fill a need for sure. And we fill a need, they fill a need, and it's symbiotic. It's just the balance of life, right?
It's just, but let's just be honest. It's a reality. Like, the management in this field is extremely poor. It is not good. Now, showing empathy, yes, we are working with populations who have a lot of trauma, substance abuse. They don't have great support at home. It's hard enough being a tech or counselor doing a difficult job, again, with low pay. You have to deal with stress from your managers, your coworkers. And I said this a million times, like, what sane human would do that, right? And I'm going on many, many different tangents right now, but
well,
yeah, you're right, Denise.
Us. We do it.
Right.
For lots of different reasons, you know?
But that's the reason why we leave the field. That's the reason why treatment centers are shut down. There's a lack of, again, grad students. I mean, there's so many different things. Like, we got to make improvements. We got to do better for ourselves, and we got to do better for the future of this field. That's why I wanted to say before, I think that 6,000 hours for LADC is bullshit. There's no, and again, I know we talked about this before, like 3 years post LADCs, that's bullshit. Like, you're going to lose people in this field. Like, just like mental health supervision, it is wrong to do that many supervision hours. Like, and it just, if I had hair, I'd tear it out right now. There's no need for 3 years. And again, I understand, like, there's a lot of things you can learn in that 3 years. Make it 1 year. Make it so these LADCs have a chance to make a decent living, to pay off their 6-figure student loans, especially if you're a grad student. You're not going to pay off those 6-figure student loans with making 50, 55 grand a year. Give them a chance. And many of them may not have the ability to wait 3 years postgraduate. We got to consider this. So it's wrong. In my opinion, it's wrong. 3 years. Well, I'm going to be honest with you right now. Like, waiting 3 years, I don't think it helped me. I was always going to be this way. I was always going to be this way from an ethical sense, behavior sense, boundary issues. Have I become a better therapist with my intervention skills in 3 years? Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I think I improved. But my God, you're making it too hard for the future generation of therapists and counselors to make it. And that's my tangent. I apologize for going too far. I feel really passionate about this. I really do. And it's like, we got to make it easier for therapists. And it's not a sign of weakness. It's like, we got to help the future generation of therapists. They need to make more money. They got to be easier. It's got to be easier for them to make an impact. And it's our responsibility to help the future generation. And I just feel like our system makes it so damn difficult for no reason, like health insurances and all that BS. It's sorry, Robert. I feel so passionately about this.
I hear the frustration.
It's wrong what they're doing. It's wrong. Like,
yeah, it's money that's frustrating, right? And how hard it is to get it.
Fundamentally, supervision, it's a money thing, right? Like,
that's at multiple levels, right? It's at the reimbursement level. It's at the organizational level.
Remember early in the year when they gave us that quiz about reimbursements, like getting reduced and what that would do? You remember that? Like, if it was ridiculous.
Oh yeah, the survey, the study. Yeah,
that scared a lot of people. That they and I believe that could happen. That could happen though. What do you mean?
That data was wrong. It ended up being wrong, and they had to make a correction, and it completely changed. Which was I suspected. It was false. It was completely it was bad data. It was bad data. That number was not correct at all. It was completely opposite of what it should have been. So they since made a correction, and it's higher than it was currently set to. But frustration, right? And it's a systematic problem. It's on multiple levels. You know, part of this is about how long it takes you to get your independent licensure, whether it be mental health or LADC. Part of this, and then once you do, part of it is how hard is it to start your own business, and then the other part is how hard is it to get a pay contract, how much they reimburse you. I mean, there's so many layers to this, right? And how many of those barriers can you knock down?
Well, like you said, that one person quit, or I guess maybe a small percentage quit just because of the paperwork, and they could have been a great private practice people.
Well,
maybe, I don't know. I mean,
I think that's an excuse personally, because you know, if you put the time into
and you love it,
your system, like I put a lot of time into InSync. I automated a lot of my paperwork. You know, even when I'm writing clinical notes, it's a couple check boxes, a few sentences, I'm done.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, that I don't want to spend any more time on that other than that.
Yeah.
So I hear your frustration, of course. We'll have to put in our time. The 6,000 hours is required, I think, from my perspective, this is a hard field. We're dealing with very traumatized people that are using some significant dangerous substances. And that's really rough energy to get used to, right? It shakes our spirit sometimes. And we have to be very anchored and confident in practice, in our interventions, our therapeutic lenses, how we use those therapeutic lenses, how we apply them in practice. And we have to know what we're doing to all of a sudden be okay with not having somebody supervising us, right? And I think that's kind of like the purpose. Now, let me say this too. My personal opinion. I think a lot of us go into this field, especially LADCs, because we want to help other people because we had a problem.
Yep.
But what we don't always realize is we still have problems.
Yes.
And especially if you go into the mental health component, you're going to figure this out, because you can't get through like Metro State's co-occurring program without them kind of compelling you and forcing you to take a hard look and inventory at all your internal stuff. They will not let you graduate until you've cleaned up your stuff. And so, but that doesn't happen necessarily on the bachelor LADC level. So we get a lot of people, and I was at first LADC, right? We get a lot of people that go into the field with good intentions. They have experience with addiction. Their recovery may be stable, but they still have a lot of unresolved stuff that could easily come out without supervision, right? And so that's my argument. That's why I think the 6,000 hours, the 3 years, is still important. I think that.
So you're saying the 3 years would help you improve a little bit more over the years.
Build your confidence. Make sure you know how to use these therapy lenses, the ones that are appropriate for SUDS. So motivational interviewing, some CBT, right? Some group therapy stuff that's appropriate for SUDS. Gain confidence in what you're doing. Get practice with dealing with all kinds of scenarios with different clients. Because once you're out there on your own, you're out there on your own. If you have a client in crisis, you don't have a supervisor to go running to. What are you going to do? You're still responsible.
Make friends like you, so I can call you.
That's not the right answer for that question.
Yeah,
but you know what I mean. So you got to really have some confidence here, and I think that experience is the only thing that can give you that. So I think that's why they're doing it. I don't know that for sure.
But if you're doing the work, if you're doing the work to improve yourself. But again, I made an argument too, like there's so many therapists that are still doing horrendous things to clients who have 10, 20 years of experience, and they're just off doing their thing, who did not have to go through the 6,000 hours. Are you
talking about like mental health therapists?
Yeah, but both. I mean, it could be the same for both. It's just like if you're not doing your own work, you're going to be bad for yourself. You're going to be bad for your client. But 3 years, you hope that you're going to gain some knowledge and awareness to better prepare you. For me personally, it's hard because you're right. I can't go in a time machine, go back 2 years and think, okay, if I was able to start this process earlier, would I be the same professional I am today right now? That's a good question. I don't know.
I think once you have another 6 months, maybe even 12 months under your belt in the private practice field, This will be clear for you. You'll understand this better, and it won't be so frustrating. I get the money part is frustrating, and I think that's a universal kind of frustration with all of us in the field, starting from when we're in grad school, having to struggle to even like have enough money to get a Burger King to get through to the next class.
You're right. Because I was thinking of grad school but when you were talking, because I went through some bullshit academic things that I almost didn't graduate. So it's like I have that academic trauma. Compared to, because I just not to get too much into it, I almost lost my internship hours because of one sheet I didn't turn in. So not to get it, like that's one thing that hit. Well, it's bullshit. It's like people like people in power do bullshit things like that too, and that's just again my experience. So you're right. I've dealt with a lot of BS in this field already. So maybe that's me personally. I feel the way I do about like these 6,000 hour requirements because I've already in grad school I was getting burnt out. And it's just, I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot that these grad students go through. Like Denise, like, and that's great. You know, you're not afraid of the hours because it's good to get a mindset going in. Like, how many hours I'm going to need for my like degree field. LPCC is like what? No, it's 4,000, right? And then you need 880 is for the LADC co-occurring. I think if you're just going the mental health route, it's not 880.
Yeah.
Denise, you would know, obviously, but
it's
4,000 after post grad. It's 4,000 post grad, but I think you have to do some internship hours when you're in grad school that are not accounted for, right?
If you happen to be, let me just plug this real quick. If you happen to be at the MCTC doing the addiction studies program, and you haven't done your internship hours yet, and you plan to go on to do mental health, you might want to reach out to Larissa Libby at Metro, and she runs the co-occurring program at Metro, because what can happen is if you transition over to the co-occurring program at Metro, when they place you for your mental health internship, you can be doing your LADC hours at the same time. I had a couple classmates that did that, and I'm so jealous of that. Because they collected their LADC hours while they were collecting their LPCC hours,
they
right?
have their practicum.
Why wouldn't you do that if you're gonna? Hello. But at that time, when I went through the LADC program, that program didn't even exist.
Right.
So, any way you can like consolidate. That is the only program I know you consolidate hours like that. But anything you can do that with, go for it.
You're right. I think it's just. In my voice, there's like frustration of just the work we do can be difficult. You're not getting paid enough. You're not feeling respected by your professors, your bosses. You feel like it, like me again. I can't speak for everyone. I have to be more aware of like this is my story, people. It's not everyone's story. These are my struggles, and sometimes I guess that could leak through.
I just hear some. I was very burned out when I started this too. And it took me a while for my spirit to calm. You'll get there. It's okay. You'll get there. And clarity will come, and it'll make more sense down the road. Is 6,000 hours really necessary? Should it be more like 4,000 on parity with mental health? Maybe, but I think you can make arguments for both sides.
Research. You got to go to the research, because I know. I
don't know how they decided 6,000 hours. I don't know what the formula was, so
it's cool because I talked about it in my other episodes with two gentlemen. It's like, where's the research that states 3 years supervision makes you that great of much better as a therapist? It makes you less likely to do, and that too, that too. Like, let's say if somebody broke ethics, it's like if somebody slept with their client, okay, that's a horrible thing. So do we need, let's say, a continuing ed class on not sleeping with your client? Those people were probably going to do that anyways.
Let's keep it around. I just went through this with somebody that was doing that, and they just lost their license, and it was a year-long process with me and the board.
Oh no!
Because I was one of the people that initially filed a complaint, and it's don't sleep with your clients,
right? Because if I find out, I'm relearn that. But it's gray though, because some say, okay, 2 years you can't have a relationship with your client, but after the 2 years. Again, it's very gray, but again, sometimes it's just best not to do it ever.
I wouldn't.
For your reputation too. So just because you can,
maybe if it was like 7 or 8 years, but just why?
And it's a risk. It might hurt your reputation. Is that even worth ruining your reputation?
Right. Well, think about it like this. Remember, in the state of Minnesota, your clinical licenses are considered property.
Okay. Yep.
Real estate. Just like you buy a house, you pay it off, it's now your real estate. Or worse, you buy a house and you're still paying the mortgage.
Yep.
Well, what if you buy that license, right? Which means all those student loans, you graduate, you're out there in the field, you lose your license, you lose your house, and now you still have to pay the mortgage company for the house for the rest of your life. That happens.
Yeah.
Yes, Denise, this is being recorded. That happens. So why would you ever want to put your house at risk?
Yes.
Ever. That's Maslow's hierarchy. Safety and security have to come first. If that's not coming first, you're not putting your needs first, your most basic fundamental needs first.
Have you ever heard of the podcast Psychology in Seattle by Kurt Honda? So he does a lot of really good YouTube videos. He started out as like a therapist podcaster in Washington. He's a PhD in LMFT. He did an episode on like ethics and like therapists sleeping with their clients. And he's just like, obviously there's like, he's just like, my God, therapist. It's just like, there's so many, if you want to get laid, there's so many different ways. There's so many online apps to have sex. Why would you risk sleeping with your client when there's so many? You try to make it a little comical, but like also like a point, like, what is your deal? Like, there's so many different ways you can have that. It's a need. At the end of the day, there's a need not getting met.
Yep.
And you're taking advantage of your client for it.
Yep. Right. And that's a whole rabbit hole about
exactly
all kinds of disorders we could talk about, but we don't have time for that today.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, thank you, Denise, so much.
Thanks, Denise. Thanks for the
Robert, man, I had a phenomenal time. I don't know if there's any last minute things you want to point out, but I had so much fun.
I did too. I just want everybody to think about lifestyle, work-life balance. You know, does kind of being out there in the field and doing some marketing all the time, just kind of like getting your name out there, chatting, and you know, is that just part of your personality? Would that be easy for you? If you can, you know, shake the trees, so to speak, if that comes easy to you and you're always out there in the field kind of making connections anyways, and you can have easy referral sources, then you could do this easily. I mean, there's no reason why you can't make 2, 3, 4 times what we mentioned was the median salary for an LADC. So I don't know what else to say about it other than that. And the process to get it off the ground doesn't take nearly as long as it did anymore, like it did with me. It was only because it was the very beginning.
Thank you for paving the path.
So, so, you know, basic questions. The group is there, right? The Facebook group is there. LADCs and Solo Private Practice. And I try to answer that when I can, when I have time. And then anything that is more nuanced, like really is specific. You get in, I don't know, a situation where you just can't get past a certain billing issue and you can't get it resolved or something like that. You can certainly consult with me, but so.
Well, actually, good thing. Like, if any of my listeners want to get a hold of you, Robert, other than the Facebook page, like, are there other ways they can make contact with you?
Yep. So R Andrews at soulsavvy.biz, SOULSAVVY.biz. But Facebook usually is the easiest way. I'm always looking at that.
Yes.
I don't know why.
If you have any additional questions, please let us know. Again, you can get a hold of us on Facebook. And again, I'm going to put all that contact information in the show notes as well, so it'll be one click away. And yes, I love it. And again, this is just a true example of just networking and building relationships and growing to, again, make this feel a better feel that people in the future, again, like I said, oh, I want to do this. Like, I can make a living doing this and help people, because I think all of us have the right to do that.
Yeah, we do. It's just a matter of degree.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly.
Yep.
Well, again,
all right. Thank you, Jake.
Thank you so much. Blessings. Thank you.
You too. Bye.
I again want to thank Robert for being an awesome and amazing special guest on my show. He did a phenomenal job in this 3-part series, and I cannot wait to have him on the show again. It was a really great experience. I just want to thank all of my listeners for your support, and just to inform everyone that the information expressed in this episode was not meant to be taken as therapeutic advice. If you do find yourself struggling with any type of mental health or addiction issues, please seek the care of a medical doctor or a licensed mental health therapist. And if anyone has any further questions for me, you can reach me at my email address, behaviorhealthintegration121@gmail.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn at Jacob Minig, where you will find more educational posts on psychotherapy, trauma, and addiction. And finally, you can follow me on my website, which is behaviorhealthintegration.org. I also want to inform everyone that there is a great new device out there called CalmiGo. It's a breathing device meant to control and manage your breathing rates and the depth of your breathing as you inhale and exhale to, again, help relieve any type of anxiety and stress-like symptoms. And if you do put the BHI podcast into the promo code, you get $30 off this amazing device. It is a once-in-a-lifetime deal, and you will not be disappointed. All right, everyone. Until next time, have a good day. Bye.